I'm a clinically diagnosed sociopath /psychopathic tendencies, the closest the medical field will diagnose as a psychopath, since that is not considered a true diagnosis, and lead a very normal life now. Ask me anything. Do you feel happiness, love, excitement, sadness, hate, etc.? I do feel bursts of happiness, I think. It goes above content, so I'm assuming. I do get excited, but most the time over very little things. Like yesterday I found a toy for the kids' stockings, and it made me so excited to get it for them. Sadness is one that's pretty well I think reined in. If I'm watching a movie and a puppy dies, I can be known to cry. But sadness is normally something I can justify, using that word a lot today, but it fits away and therefore, no reason to be sad. Hate I feel strongly. Do you feel empathy or sympathy? Thanks for doing this, Amma. No, I completely lack in those. What's the worst thing about this, and what's the best? Best is easy. No one can emotionally hurt me. I see what it does to my husband and my teenage daughter, and I cannot imagine having to go through that because someone said something about you. It doesn't make sense to me, but that doesn't mean I can't see their pain. Also, I'm really good at reading people's faces as I studied them, so I could learn how to fake certain emotions well. So I can tell when someone's bored with me, happily engaged in conversation with me, or just wants me to leave them alone. Worst part, wondering if the people I do care about actually know that I care. What are some things your psychologist advises you to not do, watch, think, or anything at all, since it may worsen your symptoms? What's the worst attitude, lifestyle or mentality to have if you want to avoid getting sociopathic/psychopathic tendencies? Is it always related to genetics to have this mental disorder? If not so, what are some other factors that would make you get closer to get this disorder? I think it is genetic. 2 of my boys show at least sociopathic tendencies. I do believe you are born with it, not turned into it. So nature/not nurture, in my case at least. I don't think being like me is all that bad. I think I have it better than most who don't. If I care about someone, I go out of my way to show it. The simple phrase "I love you" is not enough. I understand people need to hear that, so I do say it. But I also believe it is the most overused phrase to perpetuate a lie that there is point, whether used by people like me or people who can feel love. Words are just that, words. Shouldn't even need to say it if you mean it and show it, right? Worst attitude and lifestyle to have is to automatically believe that you are broken. Having a DX like mine can cause huge mind games. Chances are, as it was with me, you assume throughout childhood and early adult that all people are like you and think like you do. You don't see it as a problem because it's all you have ever known. We are not all like those in the media claim is to be. Vast majority are like me, not like Jeffrey Dahmer. I wasn't diagnosed until 8 years ago when I sought help for my temper, didn't want my kids growing up in a hostile household, and was already functioning well in society. I knew I was different by my mid-20s, but didn't seek treatment until our 4th child was born. I was pretty shocked to find out I was not different but instead abnormal. Took me another few years before I was willing to agree with the diagnosis and agree to treatment. I see my psychiatrist at least once a month, but I'm not on any special don't do this/that plan. Has anyone ever called you out on being sociopathic/psychopathic? Like in normal life, has anyone ever either avoided you or straight up called you out on having this disorder? My sister and a couple of ex-friends did long before I was diagnosed and before I realized that everyone wasn't like me. If you were walking down the street and saw a child get hit by a car, would you feel anything? Depends. People like me do have feelings. We can just turn off those emotions if necessary. Chances are, my need to save would kick in. I would assess, put pressure on major bleeds, and hold C-spine, while calmly telling dispatch location and obvious injury IC, pulse and respirations. If the child died, justification to be okay with it would be I did do all I could, while calmly getting EMS to the scene, while the holy hell of emotionally driven people around me freaked out, and kept them back from making it worse by touching the kid. Child's time to die is not my call, but being able to not lose sleep all falls on justifiable reasoning. What would you say to someone dating someone like you? Run. Exactly what I told my husband to do when we were dating. I'm not capable of giving what normal people need. I feel he deserves better than me. You say 2 of your children have psychopathic tendencies. Considering you have a unique perspective, have you employed any specialized strategies etc to compensate for their lack of empathy/emotion, so that they also can lead ordinary lives within society? Also, you say you love your husband as much as you can. Do you feel the same way about your children? My boys are much luckier than I am. My parents had no idea what was wrong with me and did nothing about it. I recognize a lack of empathy in both my oldest and 4th son. When my oldest was 12, I sat him down and talked to him about fake it till you make it. I point out to him when he does or says something that will give him away and tell him what he can say or do to rectify it. My youngest with it is only 8, so not very much reasoning skills yet. The good news is it doesn't seem to come in to play until middle school. Catch, so by then I should be able to teach him what I know. The goal is to make them functioning members of society as well. I was waiting for the question about my children. What I feel for them is hard to explain and might turn all on this thread against me, but here it goes. No, I don't think I love them like other parents love their kids. But I know I have feelings for them. I care about them, their education, their health and much more. However, if they did anything to jeopardize the household, drinking, drug abuse, stealing, etc., I would have no problems kicking them out of my life, same as everyone else. I do hope it never comes to that though. I don't want to lose them, but I'm willing to. Were you molested as a child? Yes. What were your symptoms before you were diagnosed? Lack of all emotion, outside of aggravation, anger, and frustration. I feel those. People crying over the death of a family member and me not understanding why. People die. It will happen to you and everyone you know. What's the big deal? Being able to turn off my feelings towards people I do care about. I'm sure just the knowledge they have that I can do it hurts. But if I'm mad, I don't care. If I feel justified in not even trying, I'm okay with it. Can you explain a bit more about the psychopath thing? Also, does it have any impact on your relationships or anything? Also, are there any common misconceptions about it which you could clarify? Not all psychopaths want to kill people. Could I though? Yes, I have no doubt. I just don't want to, or never been in a situation to contemplate it, past therapeutic sessions bringing them up. But I would have to justify it if I ever did want to. Would the world generally be better off without them in it? It's whatever they did wrong enough where they deserve to die. Could the law punish them accurately? If I feel justified though, I wouldn't lose a bit of sleep or cry. If anything, I would probably see it as a job well done and sleep very well. I think my biggest complaint would be cleaning up the mess afterwards. Lot of work that I probably won't feel up to doing, so that would probably play a part too. Common misconceptions. There are a lot more like me than any news named psychopaths. Chances are, you might even know a few. I don't feel emotions, but I can fake emotions to believability. I do only have 3 friends who won't run off like all the others over the years when I would drop the facade accidentally and true me would show through. They are all overly emotional beings though, the exact opposite of me, and use me as their voice of reason a lot of the times. So yes, it has impacted my social life, but I don't care. I have 3 friends who are my friends, with me being me. No falseness needed. I feel I'm lucky in that sense. Do you consider yourself as a robot? Not physically of course, but on the no emotions thing, and learning rules of society to get by. Sometimes, in all seriousness, I feel like it. I wish I could feel the way my husband does, sometimes at least. Other times I'm so happy that people can't hurt me because I see how much it affects him. Would you kill someone for $1 million, assuming that you wouldn't get caught and nobody would ever find out you did it? No. Do you think you were born as such, or it was something that started to appear as you grew older? From my understanding, I was born this way. My parents have stories of cruelty on my part that I do not remember because I was too young to remember. Ever tried to kill anybody? No. Ever thought about it? Yes. How, if at all, does your diagnosis affect your parenting? It sounds like you're a loving and in tune parent who does a lot for their family. As a nanny, I sometimes found it hard to feel sympathy for the kids I watched, especially toddlers crying over literally nothing just wears on you after a while and you start thinking, Jesus Christ, nothing is wrong with you, shut up. Would you say your inability to feel sympathy or empathy has made it difficult to relate to your kids when they're feeling strong emotions, or is it pretty easy to work around that and just do what you need to as a parent despite how you feel? It does make it difficult to relate, especially with teenagers. I have a pretty calm demeanor though, so with younger kids crying, it never really bothered me. I could tune it out. Figured sometimes they don't even know what they want, so how am I supposed to figure it out? But it never really got to me. My husband had to walk away a few times though, so guess I'm the better parent.